Should we kick it off? All right. Awesome. Well, we got about 200 RSVPs today, so we should have a good audience. Hello to everyone there. We're going to get started here. So I see Alex, Brad, Daryl, Don, Greg. We had a great audience here. So welcome, everyone. Welcome to the 43 North Why to Apply webinar. We have some awesome guests with us today, some portfolio companies, some amazing founders, and I'm excited to introduce them and share their stories with you. My name is Kevin Siskar. I am on the team here at 43 North as the VP of Portfolio and Selection. So helping to support these companies as well as helping to pick the next batch of companies with the rest of the team here. So we're really excited to tell you about 43 North and the competition, how it works, what the benefits are, all of that. And so with us today, we have some amazing guests. I'm going to introduce you guys here one by one. Let me start up the screen share. Awesome, view, full screen. Great. So today we have some amazing panelists. We're going to kick it off with you, Nadia. You want to give us a quick introduction and share your story?
Sure. Okay, so I'm founder and president of Magnus Mode. And I started this company because my younger brother has autism. And I noticed that he struggled from day to day with tasks that you and I might take for granted, like brushing teeth or getting dressed in the morning. So when we were growing up in Toronto, where we're from, I would draw out step-by-step guides to help him to do these things, which I posted to the walls of our apartment. And Troy would follow along to do these activities by himself without stress and with greater independence. The problem really came, and it's salient across North America and worldwide, when individuals with autism and other disabilities grow up. There's no supports and services for them in the community, and there's barriers to their inclusion and participation. So I set about destroying these barriers by developing an app that leveraged the step-by-step paradigm I knew worked with my brother. The app provides step-by-step digital guides for home and community living, and our customers are Fortune 500 companies and venues across the world. They sponsor guides such as grocery shopping at Trader Joe's, how to use a debit card with M&T Bank, how to brush your teeth with Colgate. So we have over 50 corporate customers who have developed content in our app. It's an ever-expanding life skills library, and we have hundreds of thousands of users across North America utilizing these guides to lead more independent, inclusive, and freely in society. So our mission is to create an accessible world. We created a movement. We've got significant traction, and we're happy to be part of the 43 North team.
Awesome. Well, I timed you, and you're right around a minute. So you got the pitch down pat between founder story and company's pitch. So I love it. I love the mission. We're going to keep moving here. Song, let's move it over to you. The Squire.
Hi. Hey, yeah, thank you. My name is Song Laran. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Squire. And Squire is it's a business management and point of sale system focusing on barbershops. So we are essentially the operating system for the barbershop, doing everything they need to run their business, from booking an appointment to paying out the barbers, marketing, CRM, pretty much everything you can think of. And then we also provide the customer or consumer facing interface. So if you need to find a barber in whatever city you're in, you can go on our app or website, book, pay, and tip seamlessly. And we did 43 North in 2017. We've grown pretty immensely since then. Just raised our most recent fundraiser, our Series C. In total, we've raised a little over $100 million. Super focused on scaling and growing. And really, our goal is to become the de facto system for all barbershops, everywhere in the world, essentially. So super excited to be here with you all, and look forward to having a good conversation.
Awesome. Well, I love that story, and I have some questions for you as well about Squire in general. But I love that you've been able to carve out that niche and how you guys have gone about that. All right, keeping it moving here, Joe. We got you up next with ACV Auctions.
Sure. Thanks. Hi, my name is Joe Neiman, one of the founders of ACV Auctions. We won the 43 North Grand Prize in 2015, which is shortly after we really went live with our company. ACV is a online based wholesale car auction. So what we do is we sell cars between car dealers. So it's a B2B play, and we're nationwide right now, not international yet. But that's where we're headed. And well, I think we sold about 400,000 cars last year. We've got about 1,700 employees around the country. So it's just been a tremendous growth trajectory since really 2015. So we're about 6 years in, navigated through COVID. So that was crazy. And I'm sure all of us have a lot of recent scars and learning lessons we could share about that if we want to go down that path. But it's just been wild to see how good businesses or, resilient businesses and can really grind through some of these challenges. But yeah, no, it's we're Buffalo based. We've got probably 600 of our, maybe 700 of our 1,700 teammates are in the Buffalo area. It's where we grew the company, and yeah, happy to be here and be able to talk about how impactful this organization is to our growth.
Awesome. Well, I love it. Thank you guys all for taking the time. I know you have obviously businesses that are doing very well, so we will try to make the most of it here today. So I'm going to give a quick introduction here on 43 North to give some context for all of this for everyone listening. So 43 North is in year 7. We have about 51 startups in our portfolio, these 3 among them. And these companies have raised about $1 billion in capital so far, with a $6 billion portfolio valuation. And we've also, basically outstripped the rest of the industry in terms of hitting metrics, in terms of diversity. We have about 23% female founders and about 31% founders of color. And we hope to keep improving that. So what is 43 North? 43 North is a business competition. We offer a $5 million a year annual funding, and we put that into 8 companies. And I think that's important because what it means is that those 8 companies get a lot of attention, right? Unlike other funds, they're not being, they're not chasing the managers too often for help. They're going to get a lot of TLC from the team here. And what I love about that is the team here basically acts as an extension of the company in some ways. So we just actually hired a bunch of people here locally on the 43 North team. So someone like Chad can come in and help with hiring. Someone like Tiffany, has spent time with companies helping them redo their entire pitch deck. Maura can help them with PR and marketing. And so it's really great to kind of have that platform and that, sort of unfair advantage to, in addition to the investment, actually provide value to these companies, which, as some of you know, lots of investors talk about, but then they write a check and kind of just disappear. So hopefully we'll get into a little bit today how that has helped some of these companies and seen them grow. We also have access. So we have a network of investors, customers, partners, vendors, and we have some amazing office space. So I'm right here now on the 24th floor overlooking Lake Erie, which is actually a beautiful view, which is pretty great to see. And all of our companies get that for free as being part of our portfolio for the first year. Tossing it to you guys really quick, is there anything on here that sort of stands out or you had a great experience with that you would like to touch on? Maybe mentorship or support or working with someone on the team here?
Yeah, I would just say generally the investment piece, is that you can't stress enough how important that is for a seed stage company, and for us at that point in our trajectory was just really critical. Getting that funding. Up to $1 million that's significant. That's really significant for early stage startups. And then moving to Buffalo and really having not only 43 North, but kind of the whole city, supporting us. 43 North's reach is really deep in Buffalo and beyond, but particularly in Buffalo. And for an early company, that really makes a difference. Having the free office space and there's so many resources. So yeah, I second everything you're saying.
Yeah, I remember when we won 43 North, or one of the winners, And after we exited Shea's Theater, there were like the whole street was lined with bars and restaurants and people just coming out and saying, I want to buy you a drink. I want to buy your mom a drink. I want to buy everybody a drink. And the whole city was just celebrating the fact that my company was a winner and that we were moving to Buffalo. And it was just this feeling of just being welcomed to a place. And it instantly felt like home. And 43 North helped me to find my condo. The mentorship was incredible because I was able to go to the HR person and say, okay, we need to hire this person, this person, this person. And literally it was like having an full-time HR person on your team. And so we were able to fill some really critical positions in a time of need very, very quickly. And we were able to hit the ground running with some great customer introductions right out of the gate in Buffalo as well.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, like to Nadia's point, like we run the competition. The finals are at basically a Broadway theater, and there's thousands of people there watching, and it's unlike any sort of startup pitch event I've ever seen, and it's incredibly well done, and there's a ton of energy there. It's amazing. Well, awesome. Joe, did you have anything to add there?
Yeah, just a little bit from a high level. Much like the other people on here, we've raised a bunch of money too, and raising money is hard. And something you'll hear in kind of startup nomenclature is you're either raising money or you're running your business, but you can't effectively do both. And what we found with the 43 North process is, yes, there was a bunch of work up front with providing all the business information and doing the interviews and all that kind of groundwork to get into the competition. But I'll always say this, it was the easiest money we ever raised, because even when you get further along or if you're raising your seed round of capital, raising money is hard. Investors will flirt with you and bring you in and then just stomp all over your dreams. And I mean, it's this never ending, process. And even when they do want to put money in, and really want to put money in, it's a lot of work to actually get that money in your bank account so you can get back to work and
Right.
go run your business. And so for all the other reasons that are being shared here, which I totally agree with, I mean, the sense of community, being surrounded by other startups in that incubator-like environment, that the energy and the, I guess just the environment, it's really impactful. It's helpful. But just getting that money and getting back to work can't be overstated enough. So that's where I would hang my hat. Is it really propelled us and let us get back to work, which was great.
That's awesome. Well, that's a great segue into kind of what we look for, right? And what that process goes for, right? So I'm going to have each of you here kind of talk about maybe where your company was at when you won 43 North in terms of traction and stage. But at a high level, what we're looking for here, at least in this year, right, is a dynamic team. So the team is in a good shape. You ideally do have some revenue. Ideally, revenue is in a good spot. So we're not necessarily pre-seed. We're more seed focused. The product exists. It's deployable. You probably have some users using it and paying you, causing you to have that revenue. And then synergies to Buffalo, right? So we want our companies to have an unfair advantage, right? So how can they take advantage of Buffalo to help them grow faster, and finding and highlighting those synergies as well. So maybe really quickly, if you guys just want to talk about where your company was at that point of winning 43 North. In terms of product traction, a lot of people listening are going to see, like, is this me? Is my company at this stage? So Nadia, I'll throw it to you first.
Yeah, I think that having started a company in Toronto, kind of just by accident, really, but I think we had grown to the point where we couldn't really progress without a large funding round. And yet, like Joe was saying, it was really difficult. We were asked to go through all sorts of hoops. And even though investors were flirting, they weren't like taking that next step. We'd been through a couple accelerators, and though those were quite helpful, it didn't come with the funding. So it was like, we had all these resources and the plan to do what we needed to do, and not the funding to take us to the next level. When we applied to 43 North, We did have revenue. We did have a budding team, although the team was very junior in their experience. And we did have users, and we had a product that was in the market. However, to get to the next stage, 43 North was really critical. Like Joe said, $500,000 in revenue, in funding right out of the gate. Introductions to customers in Buffalo, helping us to launch into the US market. Our first transit, Niagara Frontier Transit Association, which eventually got us into New York City subway. User connections to organizations that serve people with autism, helped us to hire an executive director so that I could focus more so on sales and building the sales team. And so all of these things were really, I guess, initiated by our start with 43 North, and the US market has since opened very broadly to us. And the fact that we can put 43 North in a pitch deck and put the customers from New York State in a pitch deck has enabled us both to attract additional funders and also additional customers, and have that clout in the US that we needed to really enter that market. So we're smashing through all of our revenue targets. We're not fundraising now, but when we do go to fundraise, we'll be in a really strong position. And it's all thanks to this kind of pivotal moment that we had with 43 North back in, I think it was 2019 or 2018, we were winners. So
awesome. Awesome. All right, I'll throw it over to Song and Joe. Anything to add to this one?
Yeah, I mean, we were pretty early. We had a product, we had some traction, revenue, but not a lot. We hadn't really started to hit our stride, like in terms of like really explosive growth, but we were growing. I think when we did the competition, we signed up a few local barbers in Buffalo, like before the competition, and then we put that in our slide.
Yeah, that's
yeah. So anything you can do like that, if you're selling to small businesses or you're selling to anything that's Buffalo related, if you can show it, that I think that would help your chances a lot. But we didn't have, we were early. We were pretty much, like you said, exactly seed stage. Like that's exactly where we were. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's great. I love that you took that and you like took the synergies and found them even before winning. Like, that's amazing. I would encourage anyone to do that, right? Joe, how about you?
Sure. So we are a Buffalo-based company. We were Buffalo-based prior to 43 North. And when we started the company, I didn't even know what 43 North was. So we raised $1 million seed round, which was big, looking back, and especially for Buffalo. That was all pre-revenue, pre-anything, basically idea stage. And we raised that through local angels, friends, family, primarily right in Buffalo. When 43 North came around, it was the second year of 43 North, and we did apply. And, by the time, so 43 North was in October, we had, I think I remember our original pitch deck that we used in the slide deck. We had 650 cars sold. We'd been commercially operating, selling cars for about 3 months' time. We'd probably done $200,000 in fees worth of revenue. We probably had a 6 or 8 person total team. And we were super early, but we did have that initial proof of concept and then some. And what was interesting too is, very serendipitous, but we could have started this company anywhere in the country, really. We just happened to be here in our point in of our lives. But it all miraculously lined up. I mean, the way our business works is we have markets all over the country. So basically every city, every DMA is a market for us. And it just so happens that Buffalo was our first market. So those 650 cars that got sold in the first 90 or so days leading up to 43 North were right in our backyard. It was all very relevant and really, fit into, I think, what 43 North was looking for. Better than we could have imagined.
Yeah, to Song's point, like, right, it's hard to deny those synergies when you can just show them, right? That's awesome. Well, so for everyone listening, what the timeline of events is for this year is the application is live now. So as of last week, you can go to apply, 43north.org/apply, and start working on your application. I would encourage you to take a little bit of time, make sure it's good, fill everything out as you'd like, and then submit. But take your time with it as opposed to rushing through it. Applications close July 19th. I get it. I know founders are busy. I know a lot of people are going to submit this application on July 18th, but I would encourage you to do it sooner than later. We're looking at them on a rolling basis. So the earlier they come in, you actually have an opportunity to set yourself apart a little bit from everyone else who's waiting to the last minute. And then how the competition works is once you apply, we are going to do a round of written reviews of these applications. Following that, if you've selected to move forward, we'll do video pitches. So you'll actually come in and pitch our committees and our judges. We will then, for round 3, do a bit of diligence. And then we have finals. And finals is that moment I was talking about at Shays, where we have a massive audience for this pitch competition. And it's an incredibly high energy event. And the finalists will be invited to pitch there on stage. We usually have some amazing judges for that from top funds in the Valley in New York. And then finally, the winners will relocate to Buffalo on January 2022. So talking a little bit about why Buffalo, I'm going to ask you guys again on this one, but a few highlights about Buffalo. So it's actually within 500 miles of 40% of everyone in the US, which is pretty amazing. We're quickly connected to Toronto, New York City, Chicago, Boston, Philly. Everything is a super short flight. We've got about 100,000 students here and growing, so lots of tech talent, lots of people you can hire. The cost of living is 5 and 8% lower than the national average, and the wages are 6% lower. I can tell you, I just spent the last 8-ish years in New York City, and coming back to Buffalo has been amazing. It has, financially been amazing as well, as far as, cost of goods and all of that too. So it's amazing. It's really cool to see the growth in the region here, especially in the last few years. I mean, Nadia, you're a little bit newer to the ecosystem, but like Joe, you've probably seen it since 2015 and stuff. I'm going to go in the reverse order this time because, Joe, you were here first, right? And I know that you're originally from Albany, so maybe you could talk about how you mentioned that serendipitous moment, how everything kind of came together in Buffalo. Like, how did you end up here in the first place? And then obviously ACV came out of that, but what is that story a little bit?
It's a long story, but I'll try and chop it down to what's relevant. But I went to University of Buffalo. So I lived in Buffalo, in whatever that was, many moons ago, 2007. And, but I guess 2004 to 2007. Yeah, I'm the elder statesman here. This is getting weird, but so Buffalo had a special place in my heart. I did move back to Albany, started and ran my own business, which was a car dealership. Go figure. Did that for whatever it was, 7 or 8 years. Moved back to Buffalo because that's where my wife's family was. Mm-hmm. And also because I took a job with a big corporate car dealer group, and I thought that I was going to fit right in there. And funny thing about some of us entrepreneurs is we're wired a little differently, for better or worse, but I did not fit in that big corporate culture, quit and started this. And, the thing about Buffalo is there's a different energy. I haven't lived that many places, okay? But people take genuine interest in what you're doing.
Yep.
People want to make connections. It's like this good Midwestern city that's big enough to have real resources and real wealth if you know where to look, and real resources, but small enough where people care and people are willing to go out of their way. I've never seen anything like it. It really is different and special. And I truly believe that that's a big part of the ACV success, because people didn't know who I was. I didn't have some track record locally. That's a common misconception, is people think like, oh, Joe, you're from Buffalo, and so you had some advantage that helped you win 43 North. Nobody knew who I was. I moved to Buffalo about a year before winning 43 North. I went to college in Buffalo, but that didn't, none of that carried over, and probably for the better. That's not the person that I would want to be represented by. Would be my college student self. But yeah, no, there's just been this I don't know, aura around Buffalo, and I think 43 North is representative of that. Show me another business plan competition or anything similar where this is going on. Doesn't exist. It's happening in Buffalo, where they're going out of their way to create opportunities and pathways for early stage companies to get started. And this I will absolutely say, this is 43 North or not, it's hard to grow a high growth company, tech company, any kind of company. It's hard. There's no, you can read all the books you want. There's no clear path that says you should do this, then do that. You have to find your own way, and you have to genuinely make connections and get people to care about your cause and all this stuff. And, you know, in New York and Silicon Valley, you know, sure, there's more of this sort of activity going on. So it's a little bit more normal in those areas. But even still, you've got tougher competition. You know, I mean, we would talk to VCs from Silicon Valley, and they wanted nothing to do with our company.
Yeah.
Because they're inundated with other, you know, amazing opportunities that are right in their backyard, or people, you know, coming over from China or God knows where else to go and get in front of them. So I really do think Buffalo is a special place, and not to brag, but, you know, they gave us a chance. ACV went public this a couple months ago. Like, this has been a big success story. So, you know, you gotta create the opportunities. And that's what this has done.
I would second a lot of that, and you're the first of many on the IPO front. We've got two more following you right here.
Well, I am an owner. I'm an owner of ACV shares. So.
There you go.
Right. Fantastic. Thank you.
I got a few. I picked a few up for you, Joe.
Give it a little time.
So, yeah, on that front though, I mean, no, it's so true. Like, I would be in New York, I'd be rocking a Bills hat, right? Total stranger on the street. Yep. See each other, and it's like that scene in Step Brothers where it's like, did we just become best friends, or you just talk for like 20 minutes? That that doesn't happen other places, right? And you're right. I don't really know what the source of that is, but it happens, and it's a very interesting and kind of special thing. So I'm going to keep going here. Song, where was Squire? I guess let's talk a little about Buffalo and Squire, and maybe some of the advantages you guys have seen.
Yeah. So I'm not from Buffalo, from New York City. So my introduction to
Are you
Buffalo,
a Jets fan? Are you a Giants fan?
More Giants.
That's the right answer.
Yeah, exactly. But so my introduction to the city was through 43 North and this experience. Didn't really know what to expect. But to Nadia's point, like from the inception, people were so welcoming when we first won the competition. I've actually never experienced anything like that since then. Like, it's so exhilarating. It's so much positive energy. Like, the whole community, it felt like the whole city's there uplifting you. And it's really, really great feeling. And I think that kind of continued to carry over, even after that night. Some of the things that were really advantageous for Squire was hiring. When we first got to won the program, I don't remember exactly how many employees, but it was probably around 10 or 11, if that. And then we really ramped up our hiring, locally in Buffalo. And we found that we were finding really great candidates. The cost relative to New York or other big cities was definitely lower. But more importantly, like, the quality, was there from, University of Buffalo and like all the other schools in the area. We were able to hire across departments. So, not only sales and customer support, but, also even like engineering and product, we found people who are with us to this day. And some of our most cherished or, valuable employees, now are also, sit in Buffalo. So that was definitely a big help for us. Just the access and to the candidate pools and the ability to like scale and grow quickly. And 43 North, super helpful on that point also. So just getting the word out, getting the job descriptions out, helping, vet candidates, helping refer candidates. That as you grow your company, you'll realize that like finding great talent is actually one of the hardest things to do. Yeah, so aside from that, actually physically we're Buffalo was an advantage to us because we were launching in Canada, so kind of the reverse of Nadia. So we were in the U.S. Canada was our second international market, and you know, David, my co-founder, now we would just, you know, take the bus up there, you know, every other week and go get barbershops in Toronto. And that close proximity really made that, you know, international, market much more readily available to us.
Yeah, I love that. Nadia, anything to add here?
Yeah, so like Song says, the reverse was true for me. So as a Toronto girl, born and raised, knew my company wanted to launch into the US market, but being very family oriented and family rooted, it was not something that was considered, like I didn't want to move too far. And also, like, you know, it's like once you're born in Toronto, it's like it's hard to move to a US country, or a US city, and feel just totally at home. So I remember I was very hesitant around that part, and being a requirement for 43 North, and I was like, oh well, you know, I'm going to leave my family and my friends, blah, blah, blah. I know it's only an hour and a half, but it's like my life is here.
Yeah.
So I remember taking a trip down and scoping out the city beforehand and just trying to see if this is a place that I could be comfortable and build my company. And I remember meeting with some of the 43 North team, and we went, we did sort of a tour of downtown, and I was able to look around with my family who came with me. And I just remember thinking to myself, this feels really like a Canadian city. Like, it didn't feel that different. It didn't feel like New York City. It didn't feel like, Chicago or anywhere like that. It really felt like a happy medium. And so that was really important to me. I know it sounds really like corny and everything, but it was really important to me to be able to be only an hour and a half from my family, to be close to the Canadian border, and to live in a place where people were friendly and very much like Canadians, very open and engaging and really caring about everything that you're doing and wanting to be part of your journey. So that was very important. And sorry.
No, I'll just say there's some real truth to that. And maybe to Joe's point, like maybe that is kind of a little bit of what creates the magic, right? Like everyone is super friendly, kind of like Canada, but they're capitalist and ambitious like Americans. And it's kind of this like beautiful blend.
Like a happy, yeah. And also, I mean, the real estate market is a lot better, especially now. So I think it's definitely a place that has a lot of attractive things for somebody looking to build a life in a place that is a good place for families to grow too. I know a lot of people who are raising young families, and it's a great place for them. In terms of my company, echoing what Song and Joe said, I mean, just finding human resources that were affordable and talented and ready and willing to jump in, roll up their sleeves and be part of a startup was incredible. And I think that piece is probably one of the biggest pieces, is in addition to just being in a very, very like friendly place, that it did take some cultural, getting used to. I mean, there are different things, but definitely the shock was a little bit less, and it enabled me to focus on the things that were important to building a company.
Awesome. And you didn't lose your Tim Hortons.
No, I didn't, which would have been a deal breaker.
Well, awesome. Well, let's keep it moving here, because I do know we are close on time. So, all right. So one of the great aspects here, obviously, Joe, this is you guys. So ACV IPO'd earlier this year. They were our first unicorn among the portfolio and exited via IPO in March. And you guys also have some great co-investors, right? And I think I love sort of the advantages that the rest of the portfolio gets from that, right? So Bessemer, Tribeca Ventures, Steve Case's Rise of the Rest. And so being able to also just you three get to know each other, the rest of the portfolio, all the founders helping each other, right, is really, incredibly advantageous. Joe, do you have anything to add on this here as far as the IPO, or we talked a lot about the early days of ACV. If you have anything to say about the future or the present state.
Yeah, I mean, again, kind of unique to our situation, but probably not all that unique. I was the CEO of ACV. One of our angel investors, one of our early stage angel investors, is running ACV right now. So I'm still involved, and that's my co-founder Dan in that picture, who's also still involved. But we've been able to hire executive level talent from all around the country. Many of those people have relocated to Buffalo now. In a post-COVID era, we're doing just fine with some of them living in some different places, but there's definitely something pretty powerful to say that one of our angel investors is running the company now, right here, still in Buffalo. He's been instrumental in attracting the investor class that we have over the handful of years. Bessemer and Bain and some other really, really big names. And what you'll find too, and I think 43 North, as 43 North gained credibility too through our success, and it's a nice mutually beneficial relationship there. It's a small world when you get into the venture capitalists, and it's a great world, but it's a small world. And what you'll realize is there's a lot of follow-on money. There's a lot of, if 43 North is willing to invest, that probably means something, as far as credibility with the company, because they're going to do their due diligence. I mean, we've seen over the years, and it's funny, you watch how these VCs operate, and I'm not knocking them at all, but they trust each other to where one's going to be the lead, one's going to put all the analytical due diligence effort in, and if they give it the thumbs up, then their little posse is going to come along with 2 or 3 others to fill out the round, and it's done.
Yeah.
So it's just good to know that you're kind of in good graces or surrounded by an established organization who has the connections, because in this world, much like all of business, but it's the connections, it's who and it's who you can get in front of, and that really is, I think, what matters. And with any of these high growth companies, it's all about the growth. It really is. So like, time is your enemy. Time is what you're working against. And the bigger and the faster that you can get bigger, and again, the less time that you have to spend, dancing and putting on a show for investors so that you can just get the money and get back to work, that's how you're going to make everybody happy. That's how you're going to grow a really high value business. And I just see this as a really logical step in that process.
I would also
Right.
add that just being in the presence and the company of other winners like Sanj and Joe and I mean, Dan Magnuszewski has advised us on several aspects of our technology as well. Just being able to see the incredible growth and the journey that they're taking, and it's just so inspiring. Like, and to be counted amongst that company it's humbling. So anyway, I just wanted to put that in there. It's a great environment, and we're among winners.
All right, awesome. Well, let's keep going here. Thank you for adding that, Nadia. Yeah, and so to continue that, right? So Squire, you guys are on fire right now. Trader Joe's, you just teamed up with you guys, Nadia. And so it's amazing to see some of the success the rest of the portfolio is having as well, and finding ways, especially as I enter this new role, to keep you guys all connected and kind of leverage each other, right? VoiceIt was just met with Satya at Microsoft, so really helping each other that way. So really quickly, I want to talk about applying successfully, right? What advice you'd have for these companies? What we look for is someone who's direct, concise, talk about what makes your team great. Do you have founder market fit? Clearly addressing the competition, checking your numbers, right? So the application sometimes asks your numbers a few different ways, and so make sure they match up. And show that you're in it to win it. Something one of the audience members asked here is, what do you feel differentiated your application and maybe one piece of advice you'd have for someone else applying. Song, we haven't started with you yet, so we'll start with you this time.
Yeah, what differentiated us? I just think that the problem we're solving, it's it's pretty different. Nobody really ever thought of going after that vertical of barbershops. So then the question is, it's like, how big could the opportunity be? And that's what we really, had to focus on, showing that what the TAM was, and showing this is a multi-billion-dollar, that this company could be worth, billions of dollars. So I think those are the things that we really tried to highlight. And then otherwise than that, like, if you get to the in-person interview or the Zoom interview, the video interview, you really just want to let your personality come through and try to be authentic, try to be yourself, try to be excitable and excited. You need to convey that passion that you have for what you're working on, because passion is contagious. So if you're not passionate about it, they're not going to get excited about it either. That's the main thing that you have to do when talking to investors. You're just trying to transfer your excitement and commitment in your company and transfer it to somebody else through your words and actions. And that can be a little harder to do over video, but that's something that you're gonna, you should think about how you can do that. Yeah, so that would be my advice. Yeah.
Awesome. Nadia or Joe, any quick tips?
I would definitely echo the passion bit. There's no shortage of it with me. I remember I was doing push-ups, and I had listened to the Braveheart speech a couple times before I went on the stage. But I think it's just a matter of being passionate about and believing in what you're bringing to the table, and also having the, doing the work and actually having the, the research to support it, and all the details in the plan. So I think it all comes together, but yeah, passion is very, very important.
Awesome. Joe, you guys were one of the early ones, but any application advice?
Yeah, it's hard to follow with anything more than what was just said. It's the team, it's definitely the passion. You're going out there to put these dollars to work and go change the world, and a lot of it just falls on your shoulders. And so that's what any good investor is going to want to see. They're betting on the jockey. Okay. Any business is a great business. Any business is a terrible business. Right. I mean, to sit there and look at these three different companies and think that they could be great or they could fail. ACV could have failed countless times along the way. A lot of times we probably did fail, but we had enough money in the bank, enough resources to quick fix our mistakes and get back on the horse and ride. And so, especially with this early stage stuff, I think they're betting on the jockey, be a jockey worth betting on. Right. And that's the team, and that's the big personality and genuine personality, and just, commitment to see this stuff through. Because that's ultimately what it comes down to at the early stage stuff. As it gets to be a bigger company and more sophisticated investors and more proof of concept, it's less about the jockeys, and that's okay too. But yeah, for everyone looking at this competition as being relevant to where they're at in their life cycle of their business, we're all betting on you, and that's what I think the judges, and that's what anybody considering the applications is going to want to see.
All right, I love it. Well, we got a few questions from the audience here, so we've got about 10 minutes here to kind of answer a few of these. One of the first ones coming in, and maybe you guys can talk to this, is we talked a little bit about hiring and how it's been growing in team jobs. If anyone wants to jump on maybe how it's been specifically hiring tech talent or developers, right? I know we have the University of Buffalo, we're very close to Waterloo, and there's RIT. Anyone want to start with that one? Joe, maybe because you guys have a big presence.
Yeah. It's hard getting good talent anywhere. Just as a baseline, technical people are very much in demand. Technical people can very much work remotely now. So you're going to face challenges. We face challenges, and throwing money at it's not really the best solution. The best thing that I believe you can do is you can create a culture, and you can create a place where people feel like the things that they're doing, whether they're technical or non-technical, it could be sales, it doesn't much matter. If they feel like they're making a difference and they're appreciated, then they'll want to join your cause, and they're going to want to, ride the ups and downs. Being in a startup is very exciting, but it's not for everyone. And if you want people to stick with you through the thick and thin, they got to feel like they're a part of it. And they got to feel like there's a good reason to be a part of it. The best advice I can honestly give on all this is learn how to be a great leader, because you're going to have to attract people to your little unproven startup. And so that again comes back to passion and, some salesmanship and selling yourself and your vision, because you want people to commit to joining that cause. There's a great book that I read, and I always quote it, well, not quote it, but reference it. And it's called The Culture Code by Daniel Coyle. I would highly recommend, if you take nothing else away from the 43 North competition, maybe you'll get some book recommendations from a couple of us, but that was transformative for me, Culture Code. And it talks about how to build honest small teams that work really, really well together. And it was just like light bulb after light bulb going off in my mind of stuff that I wish I knew earlier on. So that would be my advice. I mean, look, Buffalo's there are a bunch of great universities around. There is technical talent, which is great. Some places there is none. So we've got some, which is good. But yeah, when you've got people being hired by Google and Amazon all over the country, somehow you got to differentiate yourself.
Yeah, I agree. Nadia, your song, anything to jump in on with there? If not, no worries. We got more questions. We'll keep going.
Okay, I was just going to add that the programs that 43 North arranges, like group outings, there's something happening every single day of the week. There's potlucks, there's yoga classes, there's all sorts of events, happy hour, and I think that really helps to create that sense of community beyond what the founder can do. I'm not the best at that. I'm probably going to read that book. And
I wrote it down.
I tend to just kind of just be really independent and be like, okay, I just do it, but I am learning to, I'm working on that. But in terms of 43 North helping to build that culture and that that broader community, it really is helpful if, especially with a resource strapped startup environment.
Nice. All right, well, keeping it moving here. There's a few questions here. Some of these I might just be able to answer quick. Does 43 North consider a pre-seed company which has a clear trajectory to revenue in 12 months? Listen, I would encourage you to apply, right? And also, we understand that this is a moving time frame, and so just because you don't have revenue in June doesn't mean you won't have revenue in July, right? So we encourage you to apply, but keep in mind we are looking for a little bit further along as far as traction. What's the minimum? Do we favor software startups or hardware companies? We do both, so we're agnostic on that. Do pilots count as traction for B2B SaaS? Potentially, but see if you can get a few letters of intent or contracts from them. We're a UK company. Can we apply? Yep, companies can apply from anywhere. We love international companies. Do you typically not fund service-based businesses like a restaurant or something? We typically do not. So we are looking for high growth, venture backable companies here. One more thing that maybe we can kind of touch on is, and Joe, I know you brought this up a little bit. I don't want to go too far down the wormhole here, right? But as part of this competition, we are looking to grow and help companies build offices and expand their presence here in Buffalo. And so we do still require that, the team and the CEO, 50% of the team and the CEO move to Buffalo if they win the competition. And so maybe you guys could talk a little bit about that experience, and then, maybe also a little bit of what you're seeing with COVID and, your offices back, stuff like that, really quickly.
Sure. So you want just kind of an overview of our.
Sure. Yeah, maybe it might be helpful to someone else. We have a bunch of founders on the call, right? Who are probably trying to figure out the same thing, right? So maybe we can help them figure it
out. Yeah, I mean, I would say we were able to build out a bunch of space very economically in Buffalo for our company. We at a time, and we're building back up to it before COVID, I think we had about 500 to 600 people in office every day in the city of Buffalo. So that's coming back online. That's around 75 to 100 every day. But, you know, there's available real estate. It's economical. Property owners are willing to work with smaller companies, which is great. You know, and along the way, we had, you know, we didn't just like hire 1,000 people one day and then have this big company. It's been iterative growth, and 43 North has helped us early on. I mean, we staged our company. Colleen's probably rolling her eyes right now, but how big was the company? How big was ACV before you finally threw us the heck out because we were taking over so much of the incubator space?
She's laughing.
I know she is. So.
Awesome. Well, if you guys have anything else to add there, or we'll keep going on the questions?
Keep going.
All right, we'll keep going. So on our parting piece of advice here, I'm just leaving these founders, right? They're at a seed stage. They're at a point where maybe, you know, a few people have bet on them. You know, I agree with what you guys said as far as betting on the jockey at this point. Everything at this early stage is going to be dictated by how well the team can lead and execute and bring everything around it. Any parting, you know, doesn't have to be 43 North related, just in general, parting pieces of advice for these founders at the stage they're at. Something that maybe you wish you knew, or now you have that confidence, imposter syndrome's left, you know, something that you can part them or leave them with. Nadia, we'll start with you.
Okay, well, I really like the Nike slogan. I don't know if there's any way to say it better, but just do it. Like if if you're at the cusp of making a decision of whether to apply to 43 North or not, I mean, like Joe was saying, it's probably the easiest funding you would ever get. You know, if you apply, you have nothing to lose but maybe not making it through. And that's, you know, you don't lose a lot of time, you don't lose a lot of energy or resources, and you have everything to gain. So I really like that slogan. I don't think that there's any way to say it better. Just take the leap, and you'll be happy you did either way.
All right, Song.
Yeah, I mean, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You know, right? I've heard that attributed to
That's
Jordan.
That's a good one too.
and Gretzky. I don't know who actually said it.
Michael Scott or Gretzky.
Yeah, no. And so apply. Look, if you don't get in, apply again. Like, don't let that discourage you. Before we got into 43 North and before we got to any accelerators, we applied to like everyone we could in New York, and we got rejected by all of them. Most didn't even get any interviews. So you just have to be resilient, keep going, believe in what you're doing, and don't let anything stop you. Yeah.
I bet all those accelerators are kicking themselves now.
Yeah, probably right.
All right, Joe.
Sure. So, you know, read your Tony Robbins books. But it's the truth. So much about this is your state of mind. So much about this is your state of mind. And I mean, I remember days where I literally break down and cry about stuff at you know, our company and the struggles we were going through. And what I would tell you is you got to take this stuff really seriously, but none of this is life or death. And if I could go back and do anything differently, it would be, oh my gosh, to not stress out like I stressed out. And don't make yourself sick about this stuff. And then I got 2 more book recommendations, and they're actually quick books, but they're by a guy named Michael Singer. And one is called The Untethered Soul, and the other is called The Surrender Experiment. And I would read both of those books, and they're not all that related to, you know, startups, some of it a little bit, but like it's so much of this is you're going into uncharted territory on your journey, whether it's with 43 North or without, and building your own mental strength and fortitude, you know, is really, really important. That doesn't mean to go be a drill sergeant by any means. It just means to be able to like handle and process what you're up against, and you're throwing yourself out there in a big way, and you should be really proud of that, whatever the outcome. But yeah, I mean, take these leaps, give it a try. And look, I mean, my business before this was a car dealership that was okay. So like, people can take dramatic leaps in their careers. It takes time, that was 10 years ago, but I didn't think I'd been the founder of a public company 10 years ago either. So it's amazing when you do push, and when you push the envelope and take leaps, and some really amazing things can happen. So this 43 North is a great booster pack to strap on and help you on that journey.
Well, I love that. Thank you to all three of you for that advice. For those of you still with us, you could apply at 43north.org/apply. And if you have any questions at all, you can email Shannon on our team at shannon@43north.org. I know we didn't get through all the questions today. If you have some and we didn't answer, you can email Shannon and we'll get you an answer one-on-one. And we're also happy to answer any questions about the application you might have. So Nadia, Song, Joe, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're busy, and I appreciate you giving back to the next generation of founders. They appreciate it. So round of applause for you guys. And we will talk to you all soon. Take care.
Thanks.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.